It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 33. And it reads, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go."
Which, in today's world, a lot of people refer to them as, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
We're the ones who put them into captivity.
Males on average live to just 48 years old, females to 52. Almost half of all people above the age of 40 have diabetes, and the economic realities are even worse. Unemployment rates are consistently above 80%. In Shannon County, inside the Pine Ridge Reservation, half the children live in poverty, and the average income is $8,000 a year. But there are funds available, a federal pot now worth more than $1 billion that sits here in the U.S. Treasury Department waiting to be collected by 9 Sioux tribes. The money stems from a 1980 Supreme Court ruling that set aside $105 million to compensate the Sioux for the taking of the Black Hills in 1877. They're an isolated mountain range rich in minerals that stretch from South Dakota to Wyoming. The only problem, the Sioux never wanted the money because the land was never for sale.
The Black Hills are very important to the Sioux Indian tribes because they are the spiritual center of Sioux people.
For tribal attorney Mario Gonzalez, the compensation fund is the embodiment of Indian mistreatment by the U.S. government, and the taking of the Black Hills was the gravest sin of all.
The Sioux tribes have always maintained that confiscation is illegal and that the tribes must have some of their ancestral lands returned to them.
Compared to the natural resource-rich Black Hills, the reservations the Sioux were relegated to are mostly dry, desolate landscapes. Shannon County has one of the lowest per capita incomes in the United States.
At one time, the Sioux Indians were a wealthy people, and they had, a place here that satisfied all their needs.
The land dispute dates back to 1868, when the U.S. signed a treaty at Fort Laramie that set aside the Black Hills as part of the Great Sioux Reservation. But when gold was discovered in the hills a few years later, the floodgates opened and Western pioneers poured in, and the Fort Laramie Treaty was broken.
There's a long history.
Some would say that no treaty was ever kept.
Beach, the Bruce family has decided to sell it back to LA County for nearly $20 million. In July, the Manhattan Beach property was deeded back to the family. The land was owned by Charles and Willa Bruce. They'd operated a resort for black residents. Nearly a century ago, the city of Manhattan Beach seized that land. LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn said in a statement, "This is what reparations look like."
Gotcha, bitch!